Have you ever dreamed of starting your own business but felt completely overwhelmed, lost in a sea of conflicting advice, unsure where to even begin? One guru tells you to hustle 24/7, another preaches passive income. You're bombarded with strategies, funnels, and secret formulas, yet none of them feel right for you. It's a classic case of analysis paralysis, where the sheer volume of information leaves you frozen, unable to take that first crucial step. You're not alone in this struggle. The desire for financial freedom, for a life lived on your own terms, is a universal human dream. But there's a vast, intimidating gap between wanting that freedom and knowing how to build it. Most people get stuck in that gap, and very few actually take the right foundational steps to cross it. And that's why today, right here on Fuel for Winners, we're going to bridge that gap. I'm going to share with you the powerful story of Eathen and his mentor, a story that is about to become your personal roadmap. Their conversation holds 5 life-changing lessons every aspiring entrepreneur must know. These aren't quick hacks or empty promises. These are foundational principles that could save you from years of painful struggle, wasted money, and heartbreaking failure. This is the guidance you've been searching for. Our story begins, as many do, in a bustling city where the hum of ambition is a constant backdrop. Here lived a young man named Eathen. At just 25, Eathen was the picture of conventional success: a good degree, a steady paycheck, and a job in a gleaming corporate tower. But beneath the surface, he was stuck in a role that drained the very life out of him, one spreadsheet at a time. The environment was toxic. It wasn't just the long hours, it was the soul-crushing politics. Colleagues spent their days flattering the boss, shifting blame for mistakes, and competing to see who could stay latest, not who could be most innovative. His own ideas were either ignored or worse, stolen. Eathen felt utterly suffocated. The bright, ambitious young man who had entered this world was fading, replaced by a tired cynic just trying to make it to Friday. Every night he'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, the same questions echoing in his mind. Is this it? Is this the reward for all my hard work? Is this the life I'm supposed to accept for the next 40 years? But deep inside, beneath the layers of frustration and exhaustion, a silent dream refused to die. It was the dream to build something of his own, something that mattered, something that was a true reflection of his own values and creativity. The problem? He was drowning in theory but starved for practical direction. He had no idea where to start. Every book he read, every video he watched, offered a different path, leaving him more confused than when he began. He needed a guide, not just another guru. Then, one afternoon, seeking refuge in the quiet corner of his favorite cafe, a memory surfaced. As he sipped his coffee, the name of a man he had admired for years came to mind: Mr. Simon. Simon was no ordinary businessman. He was a true creator, a man who had built multiple successful companies from the ground up, some selling tangible products, others offering invaluable services. He was a legend in their local community, known not just for his wealth, but for his wisdom and integrity. To Eathen, Simon represented true freedom. Not just the freedom to buy things, but the freedom of time, the freedom to choose his projects, the freedom from the toxic politics that defined Eathen's own life. Simon wasn't just rich, he was in control. A wave of fear and doubt washed over Eathen. Who am I to bother a man like that, he thought. But then, a stronger feeling took over: desperation. He knew if he didn't act now, he never would. Taking a deep breath, he picked up his phone, found Simon's number and pressed call, his heart pounding. To his utter astonishment, Simon didn't just agree to a brief chat. He listened patiently to Eathen's rambling request for advice, and then, with a warm, reassuring voice, he invited Eathen to visit him that very afternoon. A jolt of pure excitement shot through him. This was real. This was happening. Wasting no time, Eathen paid for his coffee and rushed to his motorbike. As he started the engine, the roar felt different today. It wasn't just noise, it was the sound of a new beginning. He had no idea that this ride across town was more than just a journey. It was the first step on the path to changing his life forever. The drive to Simon's house was a blur of anxiety for Eathen, his mind replaying the sterile hum of his office cubicle. He felt trapped, a cog in a machine he didn't love. But the scene that greeted him was a world away. Simon sat peacefully on his porch, surrounded by the gentle flutter of birds. The air was still, filled with a profound, tangible peace, a stark contrast to the manufactured urgency that defined Eathen's life. Over steaming mugs of coffee, the dam of Eathen's composure broke. He poured his heart out, his voice thick with vulnerability. "I have this dream, Simon," he began, "but it feels like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff. I want to build something that matters." He confessed his deepest fears, not just of financial ruin, but of the shame of failure, of letting down his family. "I'm terrified of making those classic beginner mistakes and ending up with nothing but regret."
Simon listened, his gaze steady and understanding. Finally, a gentle smile touched his lips. "Fear is a natural companion on the road to anything worthwhile, Eathen," he said softly. "I remember my own first venture. I was terrified. But I learned that success isn't about being fearless, it's about acting in spite of fear. It's not about avoiding mistakes, because you will make them. It's about building a foundation so strong that you can learn from them." He leaned forward. "I'll share with you 5 steps to build that foundation. First, you must decide what kind of business you want to build. And I don't just mean product or service, I mean you have to find what you genuinely love." He paused. "Many people chase profit, but they forget passion. Passion is your why. It's the reason you'll get up after a crushing setback. It's the energy that will inspire your team. Without that deep, burning passion, the first major obstacle won't be a challenge. It will be an exit sign."
Later, they walked along a bustling seaside promenade. Simon gestured towards a row of vibrant eateries. "These are mine," he said with quiet pride. As he described his vision for a new summer menu, Eathen saw it, a brilliant, undeniable sparkle in his eyes. It was the look of a man living his purpose. And in that moment, Eathen understood. Passion wasn't just a feel-good concept, it was a core business strategy, the renewable energy source that would fuel him when everything else ran low.
Simon then pointed at the 2 restaurants. "Now for the second step," he said. "Do you see the difference? It's not luck, it's research. The busy restaurant studied its customers, its competitors, its timing. The owner spent a month just watching, learning what people here actually wanted. Fresh local food after the ferry arrived." He gestured to the empty cafe. That owner just copied a trend. He didn't listen to the street. He built a business for himself, not for his customers.
Simon explained how his own restaurant catered to the weekend crowds with extra staff and live music, creating the exact experience they were looking for. Eathen suddenly realized, success isn't random. It's not a lottery ticket, it's a discipline. It comes from the patient, humble act of watching and listening before you even try to sell. It comes from deep preparation and keen observation.
Every business has strengths and weaknesses. The trick isn't just to know both, but to see them as a complete picture. Too many people are blinded by their strengths or paralyzed by their weaknesses. Take my restaurant. It's tucked away on a quiet side street. A terrible location by most standards. But instead of fighting it, I embraced it. I invested in big glowing signboards that act like a beacon, guiding people to a hidden gem. We made the poor location part of our exclusive story.
Eathen's mind shifted. He'd seen his own weaknesses as failures, as stop signs. Now he realized acknowledging them wasn't defeat, it was strategy. Strengths are your engine, but managing your weaknesses is the steering wheel that keeps you on the road. Simon then leaned in, his voice dropping to a serious, intense tone.
But strategy is useless if you never enter the game. The biggest killer of dreams isn't failure, it's the disease of one day. Most people get trapped in analysis paralysis, endlessly planning, waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you a secret. That moment never comes.
Those words hit Eathen hard.
You only discover your true capacity, your real strengths and hidden weaknesses once you're in motion. You can't steer a parked car. Don't wait for a sign from the universe. Start small, start messy, but start today.
He thought of the months he had wasted, drowning in notebooks and research, hiding from the fear of not being perfect. He realized he hadn't been planning, he'd been procrastinating. Now he knew with burning certainty, imperfect action is infinitely better than perfect inaction. Finally, Simon relaxed back in his chair, ready to deliver his last piece of guidance.
But starting is just the beginning. A business isn't a monument you build once, it's a living thing that needs constant care. Once you start, you must commit to a cycle of learning, evaluating, and improving. Listen to what the world is telling you. Fix what's broken. Double down on what works. If you can't find a mentor, devour the free wisdom online. Podcasts, articles, tutorials. There's no excuse for standing still. The market changes, technology changes, customers change. The world is in constant flux, and so must you be.
As Eathen listened, the fog of doubt in his mind finally cleared. His heart raced not with anxiety but with possibility. The fear hadn't vanished, but it was no longer in charge. For the first time he didn't feel lost, he felt ready. That evening, as Eathen rode back home, he carried more than advice. He carried courage. He understood that success isn't about living without risk. It's about preparing wisely, taking action, and never stopping the journey of learning. And that's exactly the lesson you and I must take from this story. If you've been dreaming of starting a business, don't just dream. Define your idea, study your market, be honest about your strengths and weaknesses, take action without delay, and never stop improving. Your business doesn't need to be perfect to begin, it just needs your courage. Because the only real failure is never starting. Here on Fuel for Winners, I believe stories like Eathen's can light a fire in you, the fire to finally chase your dreams. If this story moved you, share it with a friend who needs inspiration. And if you're ready to fuel your own journey toward success, hit that subscribe button. Because every single story here is designed to bring you one step closer to your goals. So tell me, what dream are you ready to finally start?